Listening to God is a foundational aspect of spiritual practice. It's the difference between merely going through the motions and truly connecting with the divine. But it's not always easy, is it? Have you ever found yourself wondering if you're really hearing God's voice or just your own thoughts? You're not alone. So many of us struggle to distinguish God's gentle whisper from the constant chatter in our minds. It's like trying to hear a soft melody amidst a loud and boisterous party. Life gets in the way, and before we know it, our listening skills are rusty, and we're left feeling disconnected from the divine. We've all been there, stuck in traffic, stuck in our thoughts, stuck in our worries. It's hard to tune into God's frequency when our minds are racing with a million things to do, people to meet, and deadlines to meet. The noise of the world can be overwhelming, and it's easy to let our spiritual practice fall by the wayside. But what if I told you that cultivating a listening spirit is possible, even in the midst of chaos? So, how do we quiet the noise and tune into God's voice? For me, it starts with prayer. Not just the kind of prayer where we rattle off a list of requests, but the kind where we slow down, breathe deeply, and invite God to speak. It's about creating space for the divine to move, to whisper, to guide. Meditation is another powerful tool. When we take the time to still our minds and focus on the present moment, we open ourselves up to the possibility of hearing God's voice in ways we never thought possible. Being present in the moment is also key. When we let go of our need to control and our constant striving, we can finally hear the gentle whisper of God's voice. It's not always a loud, booming voice, you know. Sometimes it's just a gentle nudge, a whispered truth, a sense of peace that settles in the depths of our souls. I want to share a story with you that illustrates the power of listening. I was going through a tough time in my life, feeling lost and uncertain about my next step. I was praying, but I wasn't really listening. I was too busy trying to figure things out on my own. One day, I decided to take a walk in nature, to quiet my mind and listen. And that's when I heard it, a gentle whisper that said, "Trust me." It was so simple, yet so profound. In that moment, I knew that everything was going to be okay. As I looked back on that experience, I realized that it wasn't just about hearing God's voice. It was about the clarity and insight that came with it. It was as if the fog had lifted, and I could finally see the path ahead. And that's what I want for you, to experience that kind of clarity, that kind of peace, that kind of connection with the divine. What's your experience been like when it comes to listening for God's voice? Share your stories, your struggles, and your triumphs in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more content on spiritual growth.